Hey there friends, my name is Glorious, and today I'm going to be showing you the Astroneer Iceberg. I actually made the Astroneer Iceberg with the help of the Astroneer community on the Astroneer subreddit, and I spent lots of time researching these points that y'all gave. Without any further delay, here's the video. Chess pieces. The chess pieces are small items you can find on the moons of Silva and Visania. These objects, known as stone figurines on the Astroneer wiki, are scattered above and slightly below the surface. On the moon of Silva, also known as Desolo, there are jasper figurines that have a light brown color. The other moon, Novus, contains the lapis figurines that are a shade of blue. 32 chess pieces are needed in order to play a normal game of chess. However, the alternative way to play chess is just to make holographic figurines by using plastic. The main question Astroneers have is, where did these figurines come from? Most likely, they're pieces of cargo from past Astroneers that have been scattered, but there's also the chance that these figurines are actually from an alien life that was on the moons prior to the Astroneers' arrival. Probes. The probes are wonders in the game that resemble real-life historical space technology, such as the Hubble telescope on Calidor and the Sputnik satellite on Atrox. Probes were introduced into Astroneer in the Wonder update and brought 7 of these historical probes into the game. These probes are required to be found and activated in order to get all the achievements and trophies in Astroneer. Once activated, each of the probes will emit 2 streams of audio back to back on loop, a spectrogram image, and a message written in Morse code. Vehicle Bay. The vehicle bay is now a removed piece of equipment that was required to build any type of vehicle. This differs from what is in the game now, because currently to build a vehicle, we just need to use either a medium or large printer depending on the size of said vehicle. But back before the vehicle bay was removed from the game, you would have to have a section of your base dedicated to manufacturing gateways. The final entry in this section is the gateway chambers. Once activated, these alien-like structures will allow the player to teleport in between activated gateways and cores. Once 2 or more planet cores are activated, this will allow the player to teleport in between the planets with ease. Planets are required to be activated in order to complete the main storyline of Astroneer, and will also give the player outfits based on which planet has been activated below the surface. Oxygen and power crystals. Oxygen and power crystals were resources in the game that would give the player oxygen if the crystals were blue, or power if the crystals were yellow, when mined with the terrain tool. These crystals were later removed from Astroneer without a clear reason, and not many people talked about it. But to my surprise, when asking about them in the Astroneer subreddit, many users talked about the resources with joy. Satellite pilot. A popular question among the Astroneer community is about who the pilot of the exodynamic satellite is. The reason this question is asked is because no other Astroneer can be seen inside the satellite in cutscenes. However, we do see the satellite moving and orbiting Silva. The only thing we have seen ourselves is a half-eaten burrito next to a computer in the final cutscene of the game. Perhaps the answer is that the burrito is the pilot. However, a highly more likely explanation would be that either the satellite is piloted by some sort of AI developed by Exodynamics, or it could be controlled by Exodynamics themselves. However, the AI is the most likely answer. Snails. Galastropods, or more commonly called snails, are a relatively new type of fauna that may be found in Astroneer. These snails can be unlocked by following missions from the Xenobiology lab that will give the player interesting information regarding said snails. Once unlocked, these snails can be fed by the player in order to get useful powers, like extra light, or immunity to fall damage. The snail unlocked on Desolo, named Usagi, can be very important for players because it has the ability to display nearby items of interest when given plant seeds. His favorite being the mutant Hydrazine seeds. Usagi can be easily used to locate the chess pieces that were previously described. Spires. Spires used to be an item in Astroneer, similar to the oxygen and power crystals. However, instead of growing out of cave walls, these spires would grow on the surface and had the ability to give power and oxygen, with the addition of resin or compound. Generally, the spires would give the player 3 stacks of the associated resource and would regenerate after 1 day in-game. These were reportedly removed because of the resources being too easily renewed, and resin and compound did not have a limit. Spires were commonly called geysers, or fountains. Storms. The final entry in the second layer is storms. Storms are now a removed mechanic that a lot of the community misses in some ways. Storms used to periodically blow through where the player was located, and in order to stay safe from the flying rocks and debris, players would either need to enter their habitat or use their terrain tools to make a hole to shelter in. Just a second ago, I stated that many players missed the storms in some ways because the storms were a unique mechanic and made the planets more lively. However, some players did not like the storms because of the rate at which they would happen and make the players not able to play and have to hide. Under the iceberg. Microtransactions. Microtransactions came to Astroneer in the form of cosmetics, this being different dances or outfits the player could buy. However, these microtransactions are frowned down upon because the average player skin is around $10 USD, while a very short animation for your character is $5 USD. This can be seen differently by every player, and what it comes down to is the player's choice. If you're interested in learning more about what the community thinks of this, I'll leave a tag in the top right of the video now that'll lead you to a video by Trello. False ground. False ground is an Astroneer glitch in which your items will randomly fall through the ground. This is an extremely annoying glitch when this happens to your valuable loot, or when you're trying to travel in your vehicle when you clip through the ground. This glitch is pretty much known by anyone who has ever played Astroneer because this pretty much happens regularly. Change of solar systems. Over the years, planets in Astroneer have changed names. Examples of this are the starting planet, Terran, being renamed to Silva, and the planet known as Exotic becoming Visania. These changes, however, have created the theory that we are actually changing solar systems when the game updates. As you can see by the comparison on the screen, Exotic was a blue planet, while the current planet we have is purple. These planets might not even be renamed, but could be completely different. This theory is further supported by the final cutscene in the game, where we discover that there are many different realities for our character to follow and discover. The Deep Waters. Xenobiology Lab. The Xenobiology Lab is a mission structure that is from the ESS Triton. According to Dr. Inez's logs from the Xenobiology Lab, the Triton was on its way to Lubis Prime when it picked up an anomaly and changed course to investigate. On the way to investigate the anomalous reading, the Triton was attacked by unknown assailants. During this, Dr. Inez sealed the lab with the previously mentioned galastropods inside. Who or what attacked the ESS Triton is currently unknown, but it allows us to realize that in the future of the game, there could be hostile creatures added to the game. The ESS Triton is presumed to be destroyed. The Wanderer. The Wanderer is a humanoid creature that can be found throughout the game. He can be spotted when activating probes in what appears to be a white portal that resembles a tear. So far, the Wanderer seems friendly, but we have not been allowed to learn much, if any, information about him at all. The one observation I've noted is that the portals we see him in can also be seen when interacting with marbles in the new update, and the final time we see the portals are at the end of the game when our character ventures into the unknown. Hydrazine. This entry on the iceberg is referring to how hydrazine was an incredibly easy resource to get. When the game was new, atmospheric condensers could be used directly to get hydrazine without needing to craft it. This was an extremely easy way to get hydrazine. However, this has been changed a lot because now you need to have an atmospheric condenser along with ammonium just in order to craft hydrazine. What we can see by this is that hydrazine will become more hard to get and more valuable as more items in the game will be using it. Marbles. Marbles were originally going to be higher on the iceberg before the new update was released. Before, marbles were just a cool item in the game that you could find that were rare, but didn't have much lore. These items were jokingly worshipped as gods of the Astroneer universe, even though all they did was produce a nice light. Now, however, we learn that they are actually a failed experiment that also comes from the ESS Triton, and are officially called LRDs. The reason the marbles were moved down on the iceberg is because some of the descriptions of the marbles are actually kind of dark when looking into it, saying things like warning the player that the marbles are not their friend, and how they speak in the dead of the night. More descriptions tell that the marbles actually whisper. If you're interested in a video looking deeper into this, let me know in the comments and I'll further investigate and make a video for you. The Abyss. Dead bodies. When you die in Astroneer, you can return to your location of death, and there will be your backpack with your resources on it, so that you can recollect them. Your dead body will not be found anywhere around the location. In the old Astroneer, however, your body as well as other bodies could be found around the caves on planets. This is really dark and out of place when considering the bright and happy atmosphere Astroneer gives off. This was most likely removed because it didn't match any other part of the game. Clones. The final entry on this iceberg is one that is believed by pretty much everyone in the Astroneer community. The theory is that you aren't actually a unique person going on these adventures, but just a clone. This can be supported by the fact that exodynamics will send these clones to the solar system to gather information without really giving any regard to their lives. But the main point that supports this theory is from the end of the game. When you complete Astroneer and your character ventures into the unknown, the computer becomes confused because you're no longer there, and a display can be shown that looks like it's printing a new character. Moments later, the previously empty satellite ejects a new pod with an Astroneer inside, assuming that it will finish your job. That is the complete Astroneer iceberg for the current lore of the game. If I missed any points, feel free to comment down below, and I might have to make an update video if y'all find enough good things. All these points on the iceberg I got from y'all in the Astroneer subreddit. We now have a official Discord for the channel. If you're interested, the link will be in the description. On there are memes, we can talk to each other, y'all can ask me questions and request videos, and I also post updates about the channel. Thank you all for watching. Remember to stay safe.